Hello again, it's Garson, and today we're gonna have some kaiju action right at the front. Are you ready? Here we go. We're gonna go ahead. We have Karlak here. She is a giant barbarian and a bit of a druid too, because what we can do is pop this elixir, get a little bigger, right? And then we can start some mayhem. I don't need no weapons. I'll just throw this gun at you. Here you go. That's right. It's time. Time to attack Baldur's Gate as a giant kaiju. Here we go. Oh, ensnared. Oh no. Ah, ensnare me, huh? I'll enrage. Okay, so she's as big as a Steel Watch Titan right now, but watch this. Kaiju mode. Not exactly the size of Godzilla, but that's pretty huge. All right, so we've run out of bonus actions. Let's see if we can get some crushing flight on our folks down here. It's ridiculous. Ow. We gotta stop that giant chicken before it destroys all of Baldur's Gate. It's getting even bigger. It's like I'm really watching a monster movie. Oh yeah, by the way, while we're waiting for our turn here, check this out. So the giant chicken here has apparently 100,000 pounds and it's gargantuan size. Not on my watch. Yeah, just try and ensnare me now. Alright, it's my turn. Here we go. Let's let out a rupturing roar. And now it's time for the rupture, the crushing flight. Here we go. Ready? Watch out below. 1,700 damage. I'm a chicken. That's perfect. All right, so, oh man, I knew you wanted to see that, but we've got a lot more stuff to cover. We're gonna go over some giant barbarian nonsense, some questions and ideas you guys had. So without further ado, I'm gonna roll it back. We're gonna get back to some of your questions, and as always, I'm gonna pop out some notes, right? So that was fun, but what else can we do with the new giant stuff, all right? So as always, thank you guys for watching. Today we're going to cover patch 8 stress test. Keep in mind at the top left, this is all subject to change. We're just using the actual stress test to see what's possible, but it is kind of in, an unfinished state. So, but a big thank you to you guys. Because of you guys, I got access to the stress test. Thank you for sharing a code with me. Sunder, you're awesome. All of you are really awesome for watching. But if you want to support the channel, or you got an idea or comment or question, you want me to test something, I'm trying to pay it forward, because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to show you this stuff anyway. So let me know at the end of the video. But for now, let's do some big tests, right? So as always, let's just go through some of these cool ideas here, and a lot of these came from you guys. So patch 8 is of course subject to change. I do have to do this. Patch 8, top left, okay? All of this is subject to change. I'm not here, this isn't law, word of law or whatnot. And when the patch is finally available to everybody, maybe some of this has, gotten better, maybe it's gone. I'm sorry, I'm not in control of it, right? But what we can do is have some fun with it. So giant barbarian, let's cover some cool stuff with this new subclass, all right? Now I have my really cool Karlak elemental barbarian monk here. This is awesome. I'm going to show you, but we're not really going to do build time today. What we're going to do is answer some of your questions, and a lot of it revolves back to what the subclass actually does for us, okay? So other than the standard barbarian stuff, obviously you enrage. Enrage is what's going to make you bigger, okay? So what I'm going to do is obviously have some fun here. We're going to save right here. Keep rolling this back a little bit while I explain some stuff. I'll pop them. You got to get into combat, but you can enrage, and the special thing about barbarians enrage is when you rage, right, your size increases, right, and your rage damage is bonus on double on throwing attacks, which is going to play into this new elemental cleaver, right? But without further ado, we're going to get Karlak's going to become gigantic, okay? So what it's going to do is increase your size from normal to large, or, keep upgrading it, whatnot. And it even increases your weight, which can play into things, especially for this new kicking move and throwing people around, right? So, I'm going to throw you. No, 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 no. There we go. Throw him prone. Have some fun with it, okay? So, Colossus Elixir does actually stack with this, but the enlarge spell or the Dwergar enlarge, none of that works. Actually, what's happening here is when you enlarge, it makes you enlarge. When you go enraged, it makes you the enlarge effect automatically, okay? But Colossus Elixir isn't necessarily coded as the enlarge status, so it does indeed stack, okay? Also, that's how we got a really big chicken. So, we know that the big chicken is possible thanks to stacking the elixirs and going druid and owlbear and all that stuff. Here we go. And I've got our Casigo counter. Here we go. Let's go for it. All right, kick it. There we go. Perfect. And then Cuthbert's like, what the hell, man? Why me? So he tries to attack our other... Okay. That's cute. Alright. So getting back into it now, the next thing you get with this is the kick. You don't have to enrage for this, and there's a question we got answered for this, but whether you're enraged or not, essentially instead of using your bonus action as a shove and shoving somebody, it's not really a weapon attack, right? It's just a utility action. However, shove, or Boot of the Giants, takes shove and adds it as an unarmed attack, which is really important because we can do some cool things with that. But overall, what you can now do as a giant barbarian, enraged or not, is shove and do damage, which is crazy, right? That's crazy that you can do that now. So, really awesome utility and damage rolled into one, okay? Now, it's only going to get better from there because we get this new ability, costs no actions, no bonus actions. You can change it on the fly. You can turn your weapon into an elemental buff. Now, you can only do this when you're enraged, right? But you can do it as many times if you accidentally click the wrong thing. It's not going to cost you an action or a bonus action. Or if you wanted to use an acid attack and then a ice attack or whatnot, you do you. But what it does is it adds the elemental damage on top for a 1d6. So now my staff has 1d6. But it also turns that weapon into a throwable thrown property weapon, okay? And it returns back to you sort of like the returning pike, or Eldritch Knight fans know what we're talking about. So when I throw it, it comes right back to me, all because I get to add this effect while I'm enraged, right? So I throw this, it does massive damage, and it comes right back to my hands, okay? You do so much damage that it's like, couldn't even see it there. And what I'm going to also do is pull back the notes real quick. Basically, I want you to see this with the damage numbers. So when you're enraged, your rage bonus actually gets doubled. So I get 2 more rage damage when you're enraged to my weapon attacks, but it actually gets doubled on thrown attacks when you're a giant barbarian. So that's wild, right? And of course, we have Tavern Brawler for the strength bonus added up twice, which this is going to be wild. Here's a reason you should run this all like alone, right? This isn't just funny and crazy and fun, but it's powerful as hell, okay? All thanks to all of these little tweaks here. I'll show you in the notes. Hold on. Zip this back out. Okay, so all of these come together for some really cool stuff, but you guys had some questions, right? So let's move into it. Can you use the giant monk or the giant kick with the monk dice rolls? Okay, so we'll have to roll this back just a second. Okay, so Alucard, let me pull this up real quick. Alucard asked in the comments, does Monk add the damage dice to the boot? If you didn't know, if you go 1 level of Monk, you actually get dice added to your monk, your unarmed attack, your fist attacks, and do some kung fu, right? So it adds the 1d6 dice damage, and then you actually get to use dex or strength as a bonus to unarmed attacks, whatever's stronger. And then we all know about Tavern Brawler, I hope, right? So Alucard, you'll be happy to know, check this out, whether you're enraged or not, we can use the kick, and it does indeed add the dice damage, plus any other Tavern Brawler, strength bonuses, stuff like that. So that's why we can do massive damage even when we're not enraged. You send them flying, do some really crazy damage. So that's pretty freaking awesome. Right there, we're good to go. Monk and Giant Barbarian are gonna love mixing together. It's awesome, okay? So yes, Ali, it does work. It does add the 1d6, or depending on how far you go into Monk. But just so you guys know, level 1 Monk is all you need to make this happen, okay? So any other thing you think that can apply to unarmed attacks, I would say should probably apply to the Giant's Kick anyway, right? If you don't have this, then this would just be a +1 damage right here, a guaranteed 1 unarmed attack, and then any strength bonus, okay? So anything you think that could apply to unarmed attacks, I'm assuming monk, fist, gloves, stuff like that, the rule of thumb should be that yes, it does in fact increase damage, just like Karlach's soul coins here are affecting the damage as well. So Also, I'm not going to do any build time today, but I gotta say, Richard Landrum, he's always knows what to do with the monk, master monk over here in chat. He's the one who made me discover how monstrous Karlach is as an elemental monk, and we just did an elemental monk video. Go check it out. But I gotta say, this is a huge upgrade. This might even be stronger on its own, better than open hand monk, but it's going to be hilarious to mix with this giant monk or giant barbarian, because when you enrage, you can actually use spells like fire, fist of the fire, fangs of the fire snake, and even embrace the inferno, and so on and so forth. So this is a really cool idea. I can't wait to even try on patch 8 playthroughs. Okay, so let's go into giant throw and sneak attack. Okay, so let me load this up for you. Go here. What we're going to do is switch gears to a Thief 6, Giant 6, okay? Giant 6 is needed for Cleaver. That's how we can throw our finesse weapon. And then 6 Monk, or 6 Thief, because we want to try and increase our sneak attack damage, okay? So, Mark of Change asked, real quick, let me pull it up. Mark of Change asked, can you test to see if throwing finesse weapons, and you make it other than a dagger, right? To see if the giant barb cleaver triggers the sneak attack. If so, what does this damage look like? Is there any sort of interaction between elements damage and SA damage? Well, let's find out. So let me put this away and we'll look at it. I have a specific save right here. So yes, we're Karlach, we're on fire again, but you'll see that we're now a rogue, and we have to go 6 barbarian, right? Which means we only get 6 levels of rogue for sneak attacks. And also sneak attack, if you don't know, we have some conditions here. We could use reckless attack, but that's for melee, right? So what I'm going to do is park an ally right next to the guy. Okay? That way, with an ally nearby, I should be able to get my sneak attack with the range. Yep, so that's good. Okay, so pay attention, because I have a piercing weapon here, but we're using a non-dagger finesse weapon. We're using a longsword finesse weapon. Okay, and what we're going to do is obviously start a little trouble. Gale, go ahead. Get us in trouble here. Bop him. There we go. Okay, so naturally I have to enrage to use elemental cleaver. Rah! And this is a finesse weapon, so I should be able to sneak attack with it, as you can see right now, but I'd have to get up close. So what I'm going to do is elemental cleaver, fire. Alright, now my weapon now has a little 1d6 fire, but it also is throwable, and it should actually get the sneak attack off. Ready? There we go. Hey, look at that. Sneak attack. This is going to do monstrous damage too, right? Well, 7 doesn't look monstrous. Okay, so Markov not only wanted to know if this works, but how does it actually play out? Well, here's the thing. It does work, Markov, but basically it's now considered a ranged sneak attack, just as if you used a bow, right? So it's going to use your main hand ranged weapons. If those who don't know, if you had 2 crossbows, let's say, it's going to use your main hand crossbow. Other cases like bows, it's obviously two-hander, so it's going to use your ranged weapon as a ranged sneak attack. Okay, so if I pull back the notes again, let me pull this back and go into it. Check it out. As you can see here, I only did 7 piercing. That's funny because this is a slashing weapon. So actually, it's using this as my sneak attack range damage. Okay, so you can do it, but it may not be as powerful as you want. And you were asking if it added those elemental effects. Yeah, it's going to add the elemental effects on the weapon throw, which is cool, but it's not going to add to the piercing or the ranged sneak attack. So that's kind of unfortunate. But hey, they might change in the future. Or maybe Larian wants to, do something about that. That's why we're highlighting it. So you do need 6 levels to go cleaver, which really only leaves you at level 5 or 6 rogue to do a 3d6 sneak attack. And again, it's going to use your range attack, so you'll have to plan that, okay? And you need those sneak attack requirements, which one of the easiest things to do is just have an ally stand next to somebody, and you should have everything required. But in my testing, you do need a finesse weapon as the throw. It's so weird, right? But you do need your melee weapon to be finesse still if you're going to throw and engage a sneak attack. So interesting stuff right there. Okay, next, speaking of throwing and the properties that could be on a weapon, right? So let me see if I pull this back up. What I'm going to do is load up the same save. Should be good. Reload this. So we're going to see another request right here from Bagas Kagari, oh my god, Bagas Karagi. Oh my gosh. I apologize if I can't say it right, but Bagas basically is asking, can you try the trident of the wave throw with the throw of the giants? Does the wet proc on throw? Now, I was pretty sure of this, but I did finally test it, and unfortunately, I have to say it doesn't really work, and I'm going to show you just a little bit real quick. Basically, what he's talking about is the wet condition on the Trident of Waves that you find in Act 3, right? When you hit a creature, hit somebody with this weapon, it's not only going to do cold damage and the piercing, but it creates 7 feet of water surface around them, which is going to make the cold damage double up. So this, you can attack people and get them wet for cold damage. Combos really well with like an ice sorceress or whatnot on your team. But here, check it out. So when I go to attack somebody, you're going to see water drip all out on them, right? So you can see on the ground now there's actually water, and you can do some really cool stuff combo up with that. But he's also now wet when I hit him, okay? So again, let's see what happens if I back it up. There we go. I'll go ahead and enrage. I still have another attack. Okay, and I'm going to use my elemental cleaver. Here we go. Make it icy too, so I'll get some bonus damage on this. Okay, so you would think now I have double the ice damage, right? Because the weapon itself has cold damage, and elemental cleaver is going to add cold damage, and when I throw it, that's the whole point of cleaver, right? It's going to come back to me. He's going to get double damage. He's wet now. Okay, so if I throw it, he should take lots of damage. Well, he did, but 40 cold damage. That's pretty wild. Crazy. Okay, so I'm going to pull back the notes real quick, and I'll show you crazy damage. So if he was wet already, not only did I do the wacky Tavern Brawler strength piercing damage there, I have the little Karlach damage, but look at this. 6d6 cold. That's elemental cleaver. It does in fact now include the elemental damage, which isn't usually the case, by the way, right? But I get rage. I don't know what that's about, but plus 2 rage, plus another 2 rage because you get it doubled on thrown attacks. There's Tavern Brawler again on ice damage. Look, I'm getting 8 Tavern Brawler damage. Crazy, right? But since he was cold, he's vulnerable. So he was wet, he has vulnerability to cold damage, and that doubled up, leading to a massive amount of damage. So maybe that also answered one of your questions. But check this out. Even though it's applying the cold damage, even innately on the weapon, what we'll do is get hit, blah, blah, blah. All right. Remember, when I hit that guy, I hit him with a melee attack, and it created the wet condition. So we know it's working, but does it work on a thrown weapon now that we have cleaver? Well, sadly, no, it doesn't. So we still do great cold elemental damage, and it's still including the innate cold damage of the weapon, that 1d4, okay? We added on our own cold damage to it because of the elemental cleaver, 1d6, but any other conditions, by a rule of thumb, I would say don't really work, unless it says on throne, like Nyrolna or the lightning jabber, on throne, this thing happens, okay? So, here we go. We pop out the notes again for you. Yep. Okay, so Bagas, apparently it doesn't work. It doesn't apply the wet, but what you could do is poke them, kick them, and then throw them, right? So we can see all that in one action for you if you want. Let's get another guy down here. Let me just bonk you real quick. Bye-bye. Alright, so check it out. We'll have Murphy come down here. Okay. Oh, apparently Murphy's not gonna come down here. Anyway. Murphy, you're dead. That's what you get. That's what you get, Murphy. You won't let me show things? Too bad. Alright. Well, whatever. So, honestly, it wouldn't be that bad of an idea if you poked him, wherever the weapon attack may be. If you poked him first, you would get the wet condition. Then you can go for a giant kick, right? Kick him all far away from you, and then you could throw it, and he would get the double dice damage on the weapon attack. So yeah, it doesn't really work on other conditions, but hey, at least the elemental damage does work. Most weapon effects, I would say, rule of thumb, don't really work. Most elementals usually don't on thrown weapons, but as you can see, it apparently does work, so cool. Alright, unless specifically says like Nyrolna or Jabber, I would just assume it doesn't, but you got to do your own testing, and things are subject to change because, you know, it's the stress test. Now, what about Divine Smite real quick? Okay, so let's reload one more time. So, this is a question I know somebody asked. I apologize. I didn't have a screen cap. I didn't see it in the comments. I think it was in chat. But someone said, can you throw and smite? So Divine Smite does actually work as a reaction attack for Barbarians mixed with Paladins. But no, unfortunately, the smite doesn't work. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. We have Shadowheart. She's a little bit of a Paladin Barbarian here. All right. So what we'll do, let's get into some trouble with Karlach. Let's kick him. I want to kick him. Kick. Send him flying. That's so cool. Alright. Alright. So, like I said, just so I can prove it to you, when you hit somebody in rage, let's enrage first. Get big. Big Shadowheart. Rah! So I do indeed have a little bit of Paladin in me, and I can Divine Smite on reaction, right? So if I hit him, right, reckless attack, I can Divine Smite even while enraged, right? Because it's not really a spell per se. So if that's the case, right, what I can do is Elemental Cleaver, Acid, and I should be able to just throw this right at this guy, no problemo, and it's gonna smite, right? No, sadly, even on reaction, didn't change anything, but you can't smite with the thrown attack, okay? So, unfortunately, that's not the case. Now, obviously, we've seen the big chicken, right? So, let me go ahead and show you what you actually have to do. A little bit of a breakdown, not necessarily a build, but I'll show you the big chicken, okay? So, like I said earlier, even though the enlarged status doesn't work because technically you are becoming enlarged when you go giant, the elixir doesn't count as the same condition. So they do stack, which is, I think Larian consciously chose that, which is awesome. The devs want you to have a big chicken, so that's awesome. But you'll have to have the elixir, and then you'll have to enrage, and you'll need 2 bonus actions because I think only Moon Druid gets the big chicken, or the chicken form, okay? So Owlbear, you'll get it at level 6, I think, for Druids. I think it's Moon Druid only. I went Moon Druid, but the annoying thing here is you would need 2 bonus actions in the same turn, and you have to enrage first and then go big chicken, okay? So let's try that. Let's bop, get in some trouble as usual.
You were witnessed assaulting.
There we go. Alright, and I took a little bit of Thief so I could just naturally have this. I don't know this is very practical, but it's cool, right? So you would have to enrage first. Okay. And then you would have to go into Owlbear mode. And now we are huge, and we don't even have the elixir yet, right? Now, Owlbear has a rage itself, but that's not going to count as your Barbarian rage, so just keep that in mind, too. Whoops. I did attack, but I guess I don't get my normal attack. Maybe I'll get hit, and I won't lose my enrage. Oh, there we go. Cool. That's a big chicken, but we can make it bigger. There we go. Alright. So I'm pretty sure I can still consume while I'm in this form. So I'll use a bonus action to consume this. And I have become kaiju! Ah! Slamming everybody, killing the chickens, causing mayhem. Oh no, crushing flight. Here we go. Now, crushing flight doesn't always seem to, you know, land. I think you need to have height, and even with height, I think there's a saving throw. I still got to experiment with it, but the important part is you can become a big chicken. You know what I mean. So anyway, you have to enrage and then chicken. Crushing flight is insane if you can get it properly off. I gotta test this damage, but you saw in the beginning 1700 damage is kind of wild, right? So with all that said, there's so much more to test thanks to you guys and my ideas, but honestly, you guys are giving me crazy stuff like this. We did this like first thing on chat the other day during the super bowel stream I was doing. So check out stream because we're gonna dive into it. I actually just did a vote for you guys on the subscribers. You guys told me, hold on, let me pull up the browser real quick. So you guys told me after about 24 hours, I said, hello, thank you guys, appreciate you. What do you guys want to see me do? Do you want to see me test in the stream more, or do you want to just dive into a run? And you guys overwhelmingly told me, let's just dive into the deep end and start testing these subclasses in the game. So I'm going to test the subclasses purely as level 12 classes. I really had a set plan for that, but unfortunately Warlock's not working the way I want to. So we'll see what classes I come up with. We're going to play through the game on honor mode like I usually do. And this is the part where I say, hey, how do you level up and play these builds? But what I'm going to say today is I'm going to dive into the run. Thank you for the votes. I'm still looking at your questions in the chats or the comments section, but we're going to go start today's stream. We're going to start playing on honor mode with the patch, the stress test, right? And we're going to see live on honor mode, not because, oh, I love playing honor mode, it's so good, I'm better than you. The idea is I want you guys to enjoy honor mode, and I know those who can't play the new stress test want to see what these subclasses can do and perform, even just pure level 12 playing as you go act 1, 2, and 3, right? So the schedule for my streams is always in the description of these videos, but I appreciate you guys watching, asking the questions. If you have a comment or a suggestion for like giant kaiju nonsense and other cool ideas, let me know in the comments, or just join us in the live stream. We have more people when we watch the live stream, have fun, get cool ideas, and then we try to run it in honor mode anyway. All right, so you guys have an awesome day. If you have some cool comments and questions, or you just want to support the channel, it's all right here on YouTube. I thank you guys, and we'll have some more fun in the next video. All right, till then, bless you guys, have a good one.